welcome back. So it's April 8th and I'm here at West Block. Just going to do a quick recap. So I'm here to protest a press conference that was calling for, you know what they're saying to me? So what they're saying the press conference is after the federal government's alarming decision to sunset critical funding, jeopardizing its response to the crisis of MMIWG, missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls, and to us LGBTQIA plus people. So it's national organizations, including NWAC, the Native Women's Association of Canada, the National Family and Survival Circle Incorporated, which is an entire scam, Les Femmes Makeshift Ottapemiswak, also known as the Women of the Métis Nation or whatever, and a couple of other representatives, including Leah Gazan, fake hero. It doesn't say on their press release what I read about how I had made a note. I wonder if I have that note. I do have that note. Here it is. I made a note about it, which is good. So let's talk about that. So erasing survival, or wait, that's me. Oh, okay. So what they're saying is that like sunsetting these critical funds that they use for fake jobs and to travel around acting cool and being fake heroes, what they're saying is that it's a human rights regression, right? So what I'm saying is that erasing survivors is a you know, and misappropriating public funds is human rights regression. Okay, so I mean, they're super hypocrites. Like, all the people that I protest are massive hypocrites, and they project what it is that they do onto others, like non-stop. Okay, so that's enough about them. Next, I'm going to read my press release. Oh yeah, and don't forget my outfit. So the Survivor Sash, I have if you check my video just before this, I show my whole thing off a little bit longer. This Survivor Sash I unveiled last May, I think, like around the May 5th. And then I have the new skirt. I have the new skirt. So very expensive lace overlay. Check it out. I got that on sale. It was a lot. And then under the overlay, there's like 30 ribbons. Very elaborate ribbon skirt. Definitely the most elaborate I've ever made. This beaded ribbon is very expensive. I also scored that on a sale. You know, I've been planning this for a long time, and there's 30 ribbons all together that I laid down on this skirt, all the way down to the very tiniest ribbon that I can get. And so then that's showing that off. So here's my press release. So erased MMIWG survivor Dan Hickey to protest at Parliament Hill press conference. And I call for immediate defunding of the national MMIWG program because it's fake, and it's all lies to the youth, and it's all corrupt fake heroes and fake jobs. Erased MMIWG survivor Dana Hickey will be present tomorrow outside the National Family and Survivor Circle press conference to publicly support the federal government's decision to defund the National Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women and Girls program. Hickey will be stationed at the entrance of West Block. That's where I'm at right now. That's it right there. That's where they're doing a lot of the work while Center Block is under reno, which is also a cover-up. And I will not enter the parliamentary precinct unless invited, which of course I haven't been and won't be. The program, which HICKEY describes as ineffective and misused, has been used by certain Indigenous organizations to fund fake jobs, unnecessary travel, and other spending that has produced no meaningful results for families or survivors, despite massive funding and the 231 calls for justice, which are all fake. That whole process was totally fake. It has failed to reduce violence or deliver real support to those affected. And a lot of things that I'm going to be telling the youth about these fake jobs, all that kind of jazz went down during that, I wasn't involved, but during the national inquiry, which was fake, on MMIWG, all the stuff that I'm going to explain to the youth today also happened during that process. Tons of people know about this stuff. This stuff is not a secret. You can't get to this level and not know that this stuff is going on. And so basically what happens, the youth need to know is that, like, they need to know before they get here. Because what happens is that when you get here, you have a choice to make, right? Either you like sell your soul for a fake job and like pretend to be a hero and it's fake, or, you know, you end up getting erased. You know, some people don't survive the erasure. You know, you have to have a plan because, like, see, some people are leaving actually good jobs, and like some people are like leaving their you know, everything behind to come to something like this, thinking that they're going to be able to, that they're having a real job, that it's a career advancement, and that you know, they'll be able to make a real difference when all that stuff is fake. Okay, so before you find yourself in that situation, you need to know that, because it's not being that knowledge is not being translated to the youth properly. So I will be there to protest because Canadian taxpayers deserve accountability, said HICKEY. This program will not stop the violence. It does not properly assist families or survivors, and it has enabled waste, corruption, and re-traumatization of family and survivors instead of delivering justice. Defunding is the right decision and long overdue. I forgot my gloves today, which has been a small nightmare, but it's not the end of the world because I have my little Hot Pockets. So I'm just going to be holding on to that instead of and I was wearing a hat earlier. It's like, maybe it's like 2 degrees or something right now. It might be 6 later, I heard. Okay. So defunding is the right decision and long overdue. Okay, that's pretty much it for that. So now I'm going to talk about some of the things that I want to tell the youth about these fake jobs. Alrighty, so I worked at NWAC, Chums. So I moved here in 2020, and the first job I got was at NWAC. And so then, you know, I got on as a senior policy analyst, and then later I was in management. So I'll explain a little bit how that works. So as soon as I got to NWAC, I had I reported to a person called Shanisa Ryan, who's not Indigenous. And then the woman who was running the MMIWG program at NWAC at the time when I first got there, I forget her name actually, and she's lucky that I didn't have a chance to, like, I mean, I've got that stuff and I have that information obviously noted, but this was years ago. Haven't thought about her very much. I think it's Kimberly something, but I think it starts with a K, but I could be wrong, you know, because I also do a lot of opposition to the work of Kimberly Murray. So I could be like thinking, but I think her name was Kimberly, I'm not sure. Anyway, so she was working in the MMIWG program. She was manager of it. This is what happened one day, okay? So she calls us all into a meeting, including my boss, Shanisa Ryan, okay? All in this meeting. Like, everything's virtual, okay? Because this is still really COVID-y stuff when I was there. Okay, so she asked us to help with MMIWG, okay? She goes, there's no national database of like MMIWG cases, like, you know, across the country, and like, you know, the RCMP aren't like tracking any of this stuff, and, you know, nothing's really being done, and like there's sort of like a race there's some kind of race to like develop this national map, like national tracking database thing of MMIWG, like missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls and 2S LGBTQIA plus, you know. So that's what she was saying, and she's like, so she was asking us to, like, if we want to help and to research these cases and to contribute to this database, eh? But she said we can't tell the executive, okay? So at the time there was a CEO. She had changed the executive position from executive director to CEO, and that was Lingru. So we couldn't tell them, you know, like, I mean, the president or the CEO or any of these people in the executive that we were doing this, because, like, I mean, they went on about it, but I mean, it's because, like, you know, it's not being supported, or there's like a competition, or like, you know, or there's some kind of internal, you know, lateral violence going on with this kind of thing or something like that. So, yeah. And then, so basically, what we were being asked to do, like a brand new staff, what we were being asked to do is use hours that we're being paid for to do this secret research behind the back. Like, my boss is there that I report to at the time. I later reported to Lingru. I'll get there. But anyways, my boss was in this meeting when we're being asked to do this unethical work. Okay, and, you know, behind the backs of the executive. And now what this was is a setup, okay, to, like, so that, you know, like, as soon as you, like, say you agreed to do something like that, like, the way they get you into that a lot of the time too is like it's a little bit mind control stuff, because like, some people get really sucked into this whole morbid fascination, okay, that goes on with dead Indians, okay? And so then, like, in a sort of Connie Walker sort of way, people get like a morbid sort of, like, you know, down a rabbit hole kind of thing on dead Indians, and they want to, like, you know, find out the details, and they sort of, like, it's a weird thing. It's not, it's like, I mean, if you feel that kind of compulsion to just get a little bit kind of almost obsessed, or go really to get to like a morbid sort of, like, you know, fascination, or a little bit like kind of like, that stuff's not healthy, man. Like, I mean, you know what I'm saying? And so then that's how they get people into that. And I know better than that. I've seen a lot of that kind of morbid obsession stuff growing up, and I know that that's a red flag. And also, like, I'm not an unethical, you know, bag of crap, and I don't agree to do unethical things, and that's, like, not going to happen. And I absolutely, you know, I sent them an email after that, and I told them I'm having absolutely nothing to do with it, okay, because I'm not dumb. So this is the thing, though, but a lot of people get sucked in, okay? A lot of people get sucked in. It's a mind control thing, you know, like, everybody's in a group. It's not just you one-on-one. Everybody's there. There's, like, almost like a camaraderie, or like some kind of pressure to get involved in these unethical kinds of things. And what they're going to do, it's a setup. They're going to fire you with cause, okay? So that I didn't fall for it. I didn't get fired with cause, so it continued on, and I'll get there. But anyways, don't fall for that crap, because, see, so, like I said earlier, some people leave everything behind to come to these jobs, and thinking that it's real, and that they'll be able to make a difference, and that it's a career advancement and all this stuff, only to get set up and then fired with cause. And then if you're fired with cause, like, you can't even access EI. And in some provinces, I bet you can't even access welfare, maybe, or it'd be, you know, it's an obstacle to accessing income assistance if you're fired with cause. This is how they genocide us, friends. Okay? So this is very important for the youth to understand. Don't fall for that garbage. Talk to anybody. This stuff happens over and over and over again. Here's some more. Okay, so later Shanisa Ryan said that she was unhappy and that she's leaving, but she didn't really leave. I'll get there. So the next scam, okay, so they weren't able to genocide me in the last scam I explained to you. So the next scam was, they offered me a management position, and I knew right away, I'm like, oh yeah, especially when I seen the contract, because the management position came with a 6-month probation. Okay, so, like, I'm strategic, you know what I mean? So, like, I could have, like, not agreed to it and just kept my permanent position, which aren't even real either, okay? Like, I mean, I've seen a lot of people with permanent positions get the axe one way or another, but I technically had a permanent position, and I could have like kept that instead of taking this management position because I knew it was a scam. But I decided, like, I mean, I don't want it permanently. I don't want a fake job. You see what I mean? So what I decided to take the job. Okay, this is what happened. So I took the management position with a new 6-month probation. So I was given a fake project to manage. Like, I was managing policy, and I was also managing one specific project, a national project on, the distinctions-based health legislation that never came to be, Trudeau's legislation. So then, like, I started on that project. I managed the whole thing. I had 2 staff and a student. Pretty sure it was 2 staff and a student to work on it. And I also hired 2 consultants, I think. And I spent, maybe I spent 10 grand or something like that on it. Okay. So, but what happened is that, that whole thing was fake anyway. It never came to be. So all that funding was for nothing. All that research was for nothing. All the research and the funding that they're doing that they say is for research, that's all redundant research. It's been done over and over again. They never have anything new. They all come into big groups and they try to think up real hard, but they're incapable thinkers. They try to think up something new that seems like kind of legitimate instead of recycling the same old garbage, because obviously people are like, criticizing that, and they never come up with anything new, chums. I haven't seen anything new in years. So then, anyways, I was working on that, but in the background, the management, like so the management position I had, I was reporting to Lynn Grew, who was CEO at the time. But she refused to meet with me for almost 6 months. It was over 5 months. Like just before before my probation ended, that I was able to even meet with her. Okay, which is just ridiculous. That's another thing they do, is they ignore you like you don't even exist. They send all these other people to meet with you or whatever, and that's like it's just to make you feel as if it's that tear you down stuff. Like, I mean, as if you don't matter, as if you're not real, you're not even there, you're invisible, all this kind of stuff, right? And so what they had done is they had Shanisa Ryan, who didn't really leave because she wasn't really unhappy. She instead was on a consulting basis. Like, I don't know for sure if she was on the payroll or technically on a consulting basis, but in any event, she was running the program that they submitted to the government. She was working on it. So I was working on a fake project. She was also working on a fake project, but that's the one they sent to government. At the same time, this is how they spend Canadian taxpayer dollars. Trying to genocide us this way, okay? And then, so what they did is so I'm working on it, and there was a very short timeline. I did amazing work. I put together a really excellent project, I thought, and the consultants gave me crap, by the way. I had to barely usable garbage I got from the consultants, and so I ended up doing mostly my own work and a little bit of the work that the staff did, but it was mostly my work. I was working around the clock, friends, because I knew I have to make something real here so that I can tell this story, right? And so I did work on I did the best I could with what I had in that and I delivered a real research report. I did. Okay. So what happened is right near the end when it's due, there's a lot of things a lot of sketchy stuff that goes on around fiscal year end when this is due. And so anyway, they had a project management tool, okay, one of these online project management tools. And what they did is they stuck Shanisa Ryan's research product that she was doing simultaneously with me. Shanisa's white, okay? So that's totally racist. And so then they put that project up in the project management tool, and they told me where it was, and so that I would go and find it, and then I would be super traumatized and devastated and genocide myself. And so, but I didn't do that. I just ignored them. I saw it there, and I just totally ignored them, and I submitted them. Usually, they're so funny when you don't respond the way, when you don't lose it, and freak out, or like suicide yourself and they get a call that you're dead, or whatever it is that they expect. When you don't do that, they're like, you know, in the meeting, they're like, because they can't say, well, did you see the fake project that we put in the project management tool? Like, they can't really say that, so they don't know like what to do. It's hilarious. You just got to be ready for this stuff. You got to be able to see it coming from like 400 miles away, okay? That's why I tell you this stuff. Okay, so then, yeah, so I submitted my work anyways, and it was excellent. I mean, I would like, now if I were doing it for real, I would redo a lot of it, but like especially around this DEI stuff and all that, which is a scam, all that kind of thing. So basically, and you know, like, I mean, even though I did hire a couple of consultants, and I did provide some honorariums to some elders, you know, that were involved with the project. Like, we did it was research, we did interviews, the whole bit. You know, like, I mean, I had research participants. Some of them were, you know, very well-known Indigenous advocates and researchers and all this kind of thing, experts. You know, including one of those coroners. I even had one of those coroners, whatever her name is, that's involved in, you know, some of the scam to do with the graves and all that. I have all those names, and you know, I don't need to drop them all right now, but like, I mean. See, the reason I can say all this too is because when they see, after this whole thing like came to a close, they got rid of me at my probation, before my probation ended, and then they get you to sign an NDA, a non-disclosure agreement, right? So they offered me $20,000 in the you know, the separation, which is not even half my salary, and I told them to shove it where the sun don't shine. I mean, I don't sign non-disclosure agreements, okay? So, I mean, a lot of people do, and that's how they silence, like, so many people can't talk about it. This happened to gazillions of us, like, you know? And many of them can't talk about it because they take the money, okay? I told them to shove it, and I didn't sign an NDA, and that's why I can talk about this. This is what happened, okay? And so, but they don't really let you, like, as soon as you get into your fake job, like, they don't let you manage your budget. They don't even let you see it, really. I mean, they let me spend what I said I spent, but, like, I mean, they don't let you actually do, like, it's a fake job. Like, you don't have access to the money. You know, you're not able to manage it. You're not able to administer it. None of that. That's not real, okay? And, like, they use that, like, to for all their corrupt, you know, traveling around, acting cool, and also to fund their ridiculous lifestyles. So, like, it's pretty well known that Lynn Grew had purchased a property in Chelsea on the Gatineau side, and that she had purchased a building in Gatineau too, right around where all the other federal buildings there on the other side of the river over here. And that she was living at the healing lodge, where absolutely no healing even happened. There was no nothing, no MMIWG, no nothing, no women, no families, no anything there to heal. Like, it's supposed to be residential, sort of like healing, you know, and none of that even happened. What it was, like, Lynn told me that she was some kind of, like, she had some kind of experience, like, decorating. Like, whatever that is, interior design, I guess, you know, I mean, I don't know much about that stuff. And so, like, she had spent tons of money, like renovating the place, like all kinds of artwork and artifacts all over. And I mean, there was no theft prevention installed whatsoever. That's not a real, like, healing center. Like, you can't have, it's like a museum in there. It was like a museum in there. Like, without any, like, nothing's like, you know, nothing's like attached, like, no, there's no theft prevention. Like, you can't have, like, real recovering, you know, people that have complex issues in a place like that and expect there not to be, like, any issues with, like, theft or any kind of trouble like that. That's ridiculous. You know, and landscaping all over that property too. Like, I mean, that's what she spent her days doing. That and, like, eating free food and getting fat and all this other crazy stuff. She had you know, like, a housekeeper and a cook and like, your entire lifestyle. You know, like, and all the work that was done was, you know, like, I mean, probably, you know, you scratch my back, I scratch yours, people she knows in Gatineau, and all this kind of thing. And so then, like, the reason that she fell all into that, like, if you look at the NWAC website now, you don't see any mention of Lynn Grew. Yeah, and like the others that knew all about this, like Alma Brooks, like, had a meeting with me when it got real with the whole staff bit. Alma Brooks did a whole fake ceremony abusing the medicines. Shame. You know, and like, as in, like, almost like the elder that was supposed to be, like, you know, to assist us in this staff issue, and it's all fake. Lorraine Whitman was the president at the time, and she's all implicated in this stuff. Alma Brooks is implicated in all this stuff. There's no way that the board didn't know what was going on financially. Often too, they'll if you know, when they're trying to control you or intimidate you, they'll call you into a meeting with one of their in-house lawyers. At the time, it was Adam Bond. I remember his name, Adam Bond. Typically a man in these situations with you know, women's advocacy. Typically a man to intimidate you. And I'm not afraid of lawyers. If you follow me, you know that. All this kind of stuff. Yeah, and so that's what they spend their budget on, really, is like all this kind of, like, all these things that are like, that's corruption. And so then the reason that Lynn Grew got, like, so far into that, and, you know, I mean, the board is directly implicated in my view, right? And I can't believe how like, I mean, likely there was going to be some actual, possibly criminal consequence for Lynn Grew, but Lynn Grew was removed from NWAC, and then I heard she moved home, like somewhere in Northern Ontario, and then, you know, in no time, she suddenly died. Okay, and it's my view that the whole sudden death thing is like one of these here, and the reason that that happened is because she got set up by a douche known as Justin Trudeau. Many people did get set up, not just Indians either, and set up to think that she'd be able to get away with all that. And I really don't think, you know, I think that the kind of financial misappropriation that Lynn Grew was responsible for was going to be over the line. I think that she would have to have likely been subject to some kind of criminal investigation, and that must have been what went down. And she's not the only one to die because she got set up by that douchebag, and there'll be more deaths. Do you understand? Now, that's pretty much about it, you know. Like, I mean, Melanie Amaniho, okay, president of Les Femmes Michif Ottapemiswak, okay, Women of the Métis Nation. She's been president there since 2010. That's 16 years. She knows all about the things that I just said. She knows all about how this stuff goes down. And here she is today at a press conference, acting like a fake hero, and you know, trying to get more fake money for her fake scams. And you know, that's why I'm here today. I'm here to say no. I'm here to say justice for survivors and stop the cover-up, you losers. Okay? Shame. Get a real job. Get a real life. Stop Propaganda Bill C-254. Leah Gazan's fake speech police bill. And, you know, that's pretty much it. So, that's it for me. MMIWG survivor, Danny Hickey, coming to you live from West Block, Parliamentary Precinct, here in Ottawa, National Capital Region of Canada. a scam, fake country that sustains itself on death scams. Okay, and this is the kind of thing the youth need to know. This stuff. That's just scratching the surface, chums. Okay, so happy to be here and happy to do that. And thanks for watching. Have a great day.